What's up, everyone? You are listening to the Rival and Queen podcast. Thanks for being here. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Sarah.
And Sarah's busy making an Instagram story about backwards hats.
I'm really into the backwards hat and who likes wearing them. I've never seen you wear one before.
I haven't, probably
ever
since I was a child.
I know, this is what I think is funny. I wear my hat backwards all the time.
No, it looks great.
It's my preferred way of wearing a hat.
I've never done it. I think about doing it. You know what? I'm going to give a shout out. She's probably not listening, but my niece Ella always looks so good in a backwards hat. She wears like 2 braids and a hat to the beach. I was like,
cute.
Yeah, she's 14. I mean, everything looks cute on her, but
I love that. Okay, I'm going to put this story up after, but I'm here for the backwards hats. I just want you to know that.
It's Thursday.
We're so happy to be here with everyone. Thank you for listening to us. You guys are the best. I just showed up a bit late. Do you know what? My essence this week is just a little late because I'll tell you, this past weekend, I went out for the first time ever on like a proper going out in years. I was vibrating.
You should have seen her this past Sunday. She had the Sunday scaries.
I know. I stayed in bed. I did. My voice just cracked.
You're nervous.
I stayed in bed until 3:30 and I only got out to come record the podcast. Now, I wasn't like dire hungover. I wasn't dying, but I was like not in a state to get up and do anything. And I was so tired. Like I was up till very late and I don't like that. And the time change. So also that didn't do me any favors. I was up way too late and I lost an hour and I was so excited. I didn't even feel bad about how much I drank. Like I was drunk, but I didn't feel bad about it. Cause like normally I wake up and be like, oh, I shouldn't have done. Well, I just don't do that.
You cut yourself off usually.
I don't drink like that
one
much.
glass. Maybe you'll think about having another one and you're like, oh, I don't know. No, I'm going to have water.
This is the first time this year I've been drunk. So, and
2022.
And you know what I thought was great? It didn't even occur to me to drink water. Like the thought didn't even enter my brain that I should stop drinking.
You were in the moment.
I was so excited to actually go out at a bar and like party. And I had the greatest time ever.
I've been craving to do that. And I'm going to be away for a few weeks and you're going to be away for a few weeks. So I feel like when we reunite,
then we can do it.
We are going to do that.
I know. And I hopefully will be levitating just as much. I was like,
I want you to flip a table.
Wow, that could happen. I cut sleeves off someone's shirt this.
You know what?
I just got a video of it too.
The last time I was with you and we had, I think like the best weekend drinking vacation was in Nashville.
Did I? Oh yeah.
Which there were sleeves getting cut off of a shirt involved, and that was a great night. So I think that's a good sign.
I didn't do that night, but I did wear a backwards cap. Ooh, full circle moment. Do you know what? I love that. That's like that was my vibe on Sunday, and you know what? I think that was a great night. Or Saturday. So thank you to the world for opening up and allowing me to go socialize with strangers. I've like been telling people how much I like talking to strangers, and I realize I sound insane when I say that.
No, and then maybe people will see you and realize, oh, I can talk to her.
You can talk to me. I love talking to strangers. Gets me real excited.
And also coming out tomorrow is a fun interview that we recorded last weekend with Brian Crombie from Toronto, the big city, on his show called the Brian Crombie Radio Hour. And that's going to be found on saga960am.ca. That was just a lot of like letters and numbers. It didn't come off as well. But
we'll share a link to that when it's out on Friday for you guys
tomorrow,
as well.
Yeah,
you can have a listen to that and enjoy the things that Ashley and I say. You know, sometimes we enjoy being interviewed. That's kind of a fun experience.
Mm-hmm.
How about you? Okay, what else? You're getting ready for a trip. Do you want to tell us about it, or you don't?
So
tell us.
Today I'm already gone. In
She's
the magic
gone.
of the world, I'm gone. But my husband Jeff and I are going to Florida to visit my in-laws and work remotely for a couple weeks just to spread our wings.
Ashley's downplaying this.
Sick of being in our apartment, and
that's fair.
You know,
that's fair.
But I'm excited. I'm going to bring my golf bag and my golf gear.
Did you get he got on board with you bringing your golf clubs?
Yeah.
This was a saga.
Yeah. So my husband kept saying, "Oh, you should just rent a pair or use a set down there because My brother-in-laws leave. They have an old set that they've just left because sometimes my in-laws drive, so they just like throw in extra stuff like that. But there's not a female extra set down there.
Fair.
And I'm a righty. So I was very dead set on the fact that I needed to bring my golf clubs. I'm not using someone else's that don't fit or too big or too heavy. And it would cost me more than my golf clubs probably, or my golf set to rent a pair.
Yes, every
all the
time.
So then I actually was going to go on and look for a pair that I could buy down there that were used, but I just haven't had time to do that. So I'm just going to bring mine.
I think you should bring them. And I also think, like, if it were me, I would use the men's ones and it would be terrible and I wouldn't care. But you actually really love golf and you love practicing your game. And I think you would just be annoyed. I think you would be furious.
And it was just one of these moments where I was like, this is something I would never in a million years before thought that this is something I must bring to a vacation. And I think because we're going for a long time, there's more opportunity to golf. If we were just going for a week and maybe golfing once, I wouldn't be.
I bring my skis everywhere.
Everywhere?
Yeah, everywhere. Even when I travel, even when I go to Costa Rica, my skis are coming with me. I just like paying to bring my skis with me so I can look at them just wherever I'm staying.
Imagine. But then, so Air Canada, I thought maybe you can shine some light on this. I was going to have to pay oversized baggage fee, and then I looked up and said no. Jeff tried to tell me that. He tried to like sour this whole adventure.
Listen here, Jeffrey Keel, when you're down there and your wife,
if it's under 50 pounds,
and when you're down there and your wife is golfing and happy, it'll be worth it. Because if not, she would have been very angry at you for not having her golf clubs.
And it's also because mid-April, depending on the weather, when we get back, and early May is when courses open.
Right.
So I feel like I want to get my groove on.
I know I think this is going to be good for you actually.
Oh my.
And I think,
so funny.
And I just want to echo your comment about going or comment on your comment. Oh, I'm going to comment on your comment.
Please do.
About being stuck in your apartment. I have not necessarily felt that way, but last week I was out for lunch with our friend Katie, and she was telling me that she feels like it's the longest winter ever.
Really?
And I was saying to her that I've just felt very bored and like I'm going crazy. Like I'm like, I need to do things. Like I'm losing my mind. So I feel like maybe that's the vibe. So it's kind of fun that you're going down there.
Yeah.
Indefinitely.
Don't worry, everyone. We are taking a small spring break because we're both going to be out of the country, but I will be bringing my mic and you will still be hearing from
You have
us.
one more episode before our spring break. Then we're taking a 2-week spring break. Ashley will be in Florida. Then I'll be in Costa Rica with no internet.
No.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll have internet.
Maybe we can do an Instagram live or something fun.
We'll definitely do an Instagram live. When we're apart, I think we need to each do chocolate bar tastings or snack. We have to go to the grocery store and do a snack
yours
haul.
Would be so different.
I know, but also the American snack haul is so good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
My favorite thing is going into a grocery store.
I have to remind myself, or you need to remind me to bring Chex Mix.
Oh yeah. So I was just gonna say, I was like,
panicking.
I'm like a little agitated. I actually was gonna look today about ordering some Chex Mix because I was like, I don't know if I can wait a month to get it. I love Chex Mix. It's my favorite. Snack.
We must be able to get it through Amazon.
But we can, and maybe I'll order some after this. But then I thought maybe that's not my pre-bathing suit weather regimen that I want to put myself on. Daily Chex Mix. I don't know. What I do want, because like, let's be honest,
it's addictive.
Yeah, it's very addictive, and I'm not going to have like one handful if we order some. What I do want to see though is I think you can do like a Chex Mix tasting and buy all the different flavors, and you can make a video.
Oh, so you want me to eat all the salty carbs in Florida?
You're gonna be in Florida. You can do a tasting. When I'm there, I'll be doing a tasting.
I'm just kidding.
I'm requesting it. Okay,
together.
fine, but I think you should do that down there.
I mean, I am going to like junk food haven.
That's what I mean. Like you got to do a haul, a grocery store haul. I was just suggesting as one of them. You get all the different Chex Mixes and have a bite of each and tell us.
I
the
do
favorite.
love a grocery store haul in the United States of America, which is a
really
look good
forward to that.
Into our next into our guest this week, Sarah, talking about a lot of food, yummy food.
We had 3 incredible women on the podcast today. I'll keep going. I guess. I don't know why.
Very serious.
That's why I stopped. This is so funny.
We did.
Tell
us who we had.
We did have 3 incredible women. We had the 2 owners of Field Guide, Katie and Kayleon, and their head chef, Natalie. And they are the 3 owners of their newest restaurant, their grown-up restaurant called Fawn. So
excited.
It was so fun to just kind of be able to chat to them about their own journey in hospitality, because none of them came into it in like a traditional route. Like Kaylee, literally, she'll share her story, but it was like out of nowhere. Katie was working in the marketing world. Natalie, like on a whim, hopped in. And just kind of interesting to hear how they've entered into the space that is, very male dominated, and created such a great culture. If you've ever been down to Field Guide, that place is a vibe.
The food is so good.
The food,
the drinks,
the cocktail, the music.
Yeah. And it's like a smaller, more intimate kind of vibe. You can sit at the bar and they're cooking in front of you. But I feel like that, to me, thinking about a restaurant in Halifax that kind of had that vibe, that's the only one I would like think of for years.
If you have not yet been there, do yourself a favor.
Check it out.
Check it out. It is such a fun time, such a great night out. We're a huge fan of these ladies and their spots, and we're so excited for Fawn to open, which they keep calling their grown-up restaurant.
And like an all-day restaurant. So breakfast, check, lunch, check, dinner, check, late night drinks. Hello, you're there.
Custom parties, you could hire that place out, I bet. Like, it's going to be amazing. We're so excited to see what's coming up for them. And just such a great episode, understanding how Field Guide came about, where they draw their inspiration from. We talk about what it's like being in the restaurant industry, and of course, get all the details about Fawn, and just get to know them. We love them so much. So have a listen, enjoy, go follow along on Instagram. You can follow Field Guide HFX and Fawn Resto. Both of those are in the show notes. And go on down to Field Guide and have a meal, like the best one
tag
ever.
Us. Go and tag us. Tell us your going on.
Ooh.
All right, let's dive in and hear from the gals, and we'll see you on the other side. All right, well, we've got a special treat this week because we've got the most people, Sarah, we've ever had in the studio recording together.
We are jam-packed.
We're sipping on some Louve's.
We've got some Louve's,
of course. And we've got the gals behind Field Guide. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Katie.
Yay.
I'm Natalie. And I'm Kaylee.
We are so happy to have the 3 of you here with us today because we're huge fans of Field Guide, but then also we've kind of connected with each of you a little bit in the restaurant, like just from being there. You guys are so present and such a big part of it. And, we just wanted to get you in the studio and learn more about you. And you have a new restaurant opening soon. So what a time.
Yeah.
And enthusiasm, like a little nod of like, we've taken on a lot.
Yeah.
It was so funny. Not long ago, I was driving down South Park Street, and you guys must have been coming, which we'll talk about later, from your new restaurant that you're starting, Fawn. And I saw you guys walking, and I was like, oh, they are those girls from Field Guide. Like, look at them go. You guys just all look like you had like the best outfits and were just walking on a mission.
Wow, I love that.
It might have been a photo shoot.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Probably
a couple of those. If we weren't looking like exhausted and carrying huge bags full of like computers and documents.
No, I think there were computers being held.
And documents.
Yeah, definitely.
Documents. Makes it sound so like, I don't know, secretive or something. Documents.
So
The
official.
secrets.
So take us back to the beginning. Like, we're super interested in getting to know, like, it's not super common to see female-owned restaurants right now in the industry. So, like, you're definitely unique in that space. Mm-hmm. How did this all begin? Maybe how you guys met?
Yeah, absolutely. So I opened Field Guide in 2013. Which feels really crazy to say.
Oh my goodness, that's like 9 years ago?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. 2013, yeah, so we're in our 9th year of business, and I opened Field Guide with my ex-partner, Dan Vorstermans, and at that point in Halifax, if you've lived here for that long, it was like a completely different vibe in the city, and we kind of had a little fire lit under us because a couple of cool things were happening. Edna had opened recently. We had become friends with Jeff Van Horn, who was at that time the head bartender at the Bicycle Thief. We were getting really into cocktails. Dan was finishing up culinary school, and we lived around the corner from Field Guide, which is on Gottingen Street. And we saw this empty space right across the street from Edna, and we went and looked at it once. And then within a couple of weeks, we had signed a lease, and we were applying for funding from Futurepreneur and Seed. And I was 24 at the time. So I definitely was naive and didn't know what I was getting myself into, which I think was awesome, because doing something when you're not in that state is way scarier.
Yes.
I had very little fear about it, and Dan was the same. So then fast forward a few years. Actually, no. Back to the beginning. Katie was already involved at Field Guide at that point. She did all of our branding and built our website for us. We were best friends. She was there throughout the entire build out phase. She helped with tons of projects in the space, and then became a regular at the bar. She had like a bar seat that she would be at like every single day. She would shut the place down, and we were spending lots of time together then as friends, but not yet really as business partners. Eventually Dan and I broke up, as you do.
Things happen.
And at that point, he decided that he really wanted to get out of the game, and Katie and I became roommates. And I
didn't mention that part in the preview.
No, you didn't.
At that point, I remember having conversations where we were like, yeah, we would never be business partners. That would be crazy. And then Dan and I had a bunch of chats because we were trying to find someone to buy him out of the business. And he's also great friends with Katie. They're actually now roommates.
And Katie and I have also been roommates.
Oh my God.
While we were working together also.
Hosting.
Yeah, I'm just like holding court.
Has it been the
Just
same
come live with me if
apartment
they
the whole
want.
time?
No.
Whoa.
Not
Okay.
for them, but Katie and I lived in the same apartment, and
That
now Katie and Dan
Dan and I
live
currently
that
live in.
apartment.
Yeah.
But Dan's also like my best friend, and he's our like handyman at
Yeah.
Field Guide. So
He knows how to fix
everything's
a lot of
cool.
stuff because obviously he's very familiar with the space.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's ice machine whisperer.
Yes.
Which is actually quite important because it breaks a lot. They're very finicky little machines, and they're really integral to the day to day. So he's wonderful and really eager to help, and he's always around and obviously
good
my
to have
roommate.
around.
So
Yeah.
he's an invaluable member of the team
Yes,
still.
totally.
But just doesn't have the same role as he used to have.
Yeah. So at some point, I just approached Katie and asked her if she wanted to buy him out of the business, and then they had a couple chats and
A couple of chats sitting up
in the comments.
in the comment. Yeah.
So
That's where all
wholesome.
the good business deals are done.
Yeah. And
In summertime in the comments.
I
With a
love
couple
that in the
beers.
Noted.
sunshine.
Yeah. Everyone's feeling good. Everyone's vitamin D, serotonin's hitting. So that was cool. And then, then I did that. But prior to purchasing Dan's half, I had already been, I mentioned this before, but I had already been taking some shifts. Pretty early on, I offered, and I remember distinctly Dan was like, no. He was like, you are a friend, and we don't want to mix that stuff up.
You're not working.
He's like, no. And then there became a time where there was just enough stuff to do and enough shifts that there was like 1 or 2 shifts a week for somebody who didn't really need to worry too much about like how much they were working. So I took those on and then just kept taking more and more on. And then I burnt out on my corporate jobs, and I was like, I need out of this industry. I need out of the advertising world. And so I took a full-time job there. And then that's when everything changed.
Let's just have a moment. I've got a question. I'm not even going to let Ashley.
You're
talk,
allowed to have
apparently. Did you have a background in hospitality when you started, Kaylee?
I didn't have a background in restaurants.
Okay.
I'd always had like customer facing jobs, and I'd had food related jobs.
Okay.
And I was a barista like most recently before opening Field Guide. So I really just jumped in with both feet and was like, oh, I really like this. Like, this is cool. I like it. And I actually feel so like thankful to Dan, because he was like such a driving force, and he was one who really wanted to operate a restaurant. And I'm like, oh, this person like helped me find my path in life, like 100%.
Amazing.
So that feels really cool. And obviously I wouldn't be where I am at all without all the amazing people that we had around us. Like Field Guide probably never would have even had a cocktail program had Jeff Van Horn not helped us. We've always had amazing bartenders. We've always had like just amazing staff, people who have known more than me in every aspect of the business, who have just been so gracious and generous with their knowledge. And I've tried to be a sponge. Like I think I'm at a point now where I feel very confident in my role and like confident as a business owner. And actually a huge part of that was bringing Katie on as my business partner, because we were so close. And then just being able to own the business with another woman has been really cool. And then also kind of at the same time, a little bit before Katie came on as my business partner, Natalie had become the chef, so a couple of years before. But Natalie had been working, which I guess now is the next part of the story. Natalie has been working at Field Guide for 7 of the 8 years that we've been open.
Wow.
And well, I'll let you tell your story of how that all came to be.
I was working at a farm-to-table breakfast place after deciding on a career change from wanting to go into psychology to pursuing cooking. And I wanted to go to French cooking school, as one thinks they want to do when they're like 20. But I'd come back to Halifax for the summer from Europe. And Field Guide was like the coolest new place in Halifax, and the coolest people worked there, and they were making the most innovative food. And I thought it was like I would go there, and I think I was 20, so I was like barely legally able to drink, and I would make my parents take me there, and like I was so excited to be there, and like so bright-eyed. And they posted a job advertisement, and I applied on very thick paper, because I remember reading that somewhere on the internet, that if you apply on really thick paper, people would, when they flip through resumes, they would notice your resume more, which I still believe to this day. And it's a tip that I give my staff now when they're going off to apply to other places, or when they are like moving up in the world. I'm like, always apply for jobs you really want on really thick paper. And Kaylee still has the resume that I wrote her.
It's at my house.
She like
you wrote a really good
every
cover
time
letter.
every time you like move houses, you find it and bring it up. It's really cute. But yeah, I got a job there. I had an interview with Dan, and he hired me on the spot, which I think is very bold. I had almost no experience. Hiring a green cook now, I realize, is a tremendous undertaking. It is so much work to hire somebody with no experience. It's a really kind of nonsensical thing to do. But when it works out, it's a really good investment, apparently, because then,
They're indebted to
7
you.
years later, they run your restaurant
you're
for you.
still there.
So it works out really well. And I've like loved my job so much. Obviously, they've allowed me to leave and grow other places, and then come back, doing stages in New York, and like really figuring out what I wanted to do and become better at my job. And yeah, it's been really cool.
Oh, that's
been
like a cool career
awesome.
path too.
Yeah.
Taking those breaks.
And I
Yeah.
can so remember when Field Guide, I don't even know, I must have lived in Halifax, 7 or 8 years ago, but I can remember, like, what year is it?
I don't know where you were.
I was in Dartmouth.
Far
in
away.
Coal Harbor, so far, so out of touch with downtown. But I remember hearing, I think it was my brother who introduced me to like Field Guide, Edna, and like that kind of like block and what was happening there. And I remember going to Field Guide for the first time, being like, what's happening? There were so many cool drinks, and I just feel like it's so. You guys have built the foundation, really, I think, for a lot of the other restaurants and like the cocktail industry to kind of like do what they're able to do.
I remember the first thing I got the first time I went to Field Guide.
Do you?
But yeah, because I think
Wow.
you guys have such a distinct like food menu and drink menu. Like you've created a very unique vibe. I had the Donair steam buns. Yeah.
People still ask when those come back. We bring them back occasionally as
I
a
saw
fun
them.
treat.
They're
Just them like a little carrot. We're like, you want to come back? Down here, steam bun?
Yeah. Every now and then we bring them back.
Yeah.
No, they're so
Great
good.
dish.
I think it's crazy though that like each of you didn't have this like deep background in hospitality when each of you don't.
I think it's
Yeah.
a really special thing, and I think that it's part of what is going to make our new restaurant so special, is that we don't have this ingrained kind of mentality of what service has to be, of what the restaurant experience has to be, of how systems have to be, because we've been brought up in a traditional system. We are creating and have created systems that work for us and work for our staff really well, and we're just going to translate that onto a bigger scale with the new restaurant and
Keep going.
keep going. Onward and upward.
Love that.
I like the transitions though. And how did you find going from being in like a corporate job to like you basically switched your work schedule, Katie?
Yeah, like I mean, Kaylee brought it up earlier, but I used to like post up at one of the bar stools. Well, what happened was I would go work my 9 to 5, then I would go home and I would wait until like 8:30 or 9, and then I would like I used to live on Creighton Street, which is not that far from Field Guide, and I would just like mosey down there like when I knew they were about to be closing, and I would sit at this bar seat and I would have a couple drinks or whatever, and then because I had a job, so I had the money to like spend there, so I would spend money or they would give me free stuff, whatever. And then I'd wait for everyone to finish work, and then we'd just like have drinks, and then we'd like go to Stillwell. That was like the vibe. Or we'd go out. We sometimes would go to like Gus's or whatever was happening, like the good old days when you could go places.
Yeah.
Charlie's.
Charlie's, wherever. We would just like do the after work thing, and we had all the stamina in the world back
Tons
then.
of energy.
Yeah.
So young.
Things have changed.
Things have drastically shifted. The culture is definitely not like that anymore. It's not like as much of a kind of like go out after work scene as there used to be, but that was what happened. And so I sort of became friends with everybody who worked there, and so I just sort of got really ingrained in like the whole family, I guess you want to call it. I don't really like calling it that, but it feels like that sometimes. And yeah, so then it sort of felt like I just wanted to hang out there all the time. So having a job was like the only real way to do that without, again, like developing a problem with alcohol. Like I didn't want to just like always be there as a patron. I just wanted to be part of it. Like it was something I just wanted to be part of. Like I just wanted to be in the crew. And so that's why I was like, Dan, can I work there? And he's like, no. And I was like, okay, fine. And then finally there was like a little bit of a fissure in like the plan. And I was like, it's me. I'm
I'm
here.
sure I was like, no, we're gonna hire.
Yeah,
you.
you
And
said
he was
okay
like,
the
no.
first time. I remember even like fine, and then the second time when there was a need to fill in some shifts, you were like, Dan, and he was like, fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I feel like it was kind of, I don't know, I didn't really think that much about it when it was happening. It was also, I don't know if the listeners out there are familiar with this astrological phenomenon called a Saturn return,
They've heard
which is when you fuck your life up pretty much.
I'm about to go through mine right now.
Around 30.
So.
Are
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
That's when Dan and I got divorced.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
mine,
Can't,
Sarah?
hopefully mine is really great.
Yours has happened. They've all
Thank
happened.
God.
She's like, oh no.
I was having a bad day today. I was like, is it coming?
Is it today?
Today, my
Is it
Saturn.
upon me?
No, it's like it's not a one-day event. Unfortunately.
No, it's like between 28 and 32.
30. It really depends on your
Those are
stuff.
far in the rear
You
view
know
mirror
what?
for me.
After this,
Same.
I'll look it up for you, and we'll see what happened in
Okay.
your life. I
That'd
know
be
when it
interesting.
was. I could guess when it is for you.
Yeah.
Okay,
It
I can't
affects.
wait.
It depends on your obviously your chart, so it affects different aspects of your life. And for me, it was obviously career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I literally was like flipping tables. Like I quit. Like I'm not doing this anymore. And I still do graphic design. Like I'm a freelancer and I have a creative side of my life, but it's definitely not the way it used to be. And I was just over it. And it felt so good to kind of, I don't know. And it's funny because I had planned to do this career, the graphic design and advertising career, since I was like 16. So it was sort of similar to Natalie, where she like was like, I'm doing this, I'm switching up, and I'm doing it. She's so young when she started. I like thought I had it figured out,
Yeah.
And I really was like, I'm doing the thing that I had set out to do on the path I planned to be on. And then I was like, this sucks. Like for me, it just wasn't hitting.
How can I get off?
I'm sure there's so many people listening that are really in that same
Yeah.
position, right? That are kind of in that step.
And I think like, it was, I was just looking for my people. I think I realized that like, while I might be good at this thing, or I might, day to day, I might know how to like talk the talk and walk the walk and like get along with everybody. It wasn't like fulfilling me at all. And I was like, making really good money, and I was learning a lot and whatever. And I was like rising through the ranks or whatever. And I just was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
And there's something like when you can go to work every day and like love what you do, it's a feeling that you like can't get from anything else.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's like I really enjoy. Some days it's the part
always
that's taxing,
yeah.
but the thing that I really enjoy is like the constant changing of what's going on every day, and that's really really cool. And there's always a fire to put out. There's always a problem to solve. There's always like a new thing. There's new people all the time. So that's it's really exciting in that sense, and really kind of challenging in other senses.
We say this thing sometimes. There's that saying,
Oh, yeah.
you do what you love and you don't work a day in your life. And Kaylee always says this thing that is, you do what you love and you work
always.
constantly. You
You
never
never
stop
stop
working.
working.
Yeah. You like literally never stop.
I hate that saying.
I
so much.
actually, I know. I
You
hate
work
that
so
too.
much more than you would
Yeah.
for something that you
You
don't
care
like.
way more.
Yeah.
Kaylee, I think that's an accurate adaptation
great.
to that saying. So,
It's kind of like the finishing of the saying where it's like, whatever, imitation is the purest form of flattery, but people always leave out the second part, which is like that fools, I can't remember what it is, but it basically like turns the other part on its head, and
Yeah.
it's like that fools can't bear to witness or something. I can't remember what it is, but it's like
Yeah, nobody like
nobody
knows the
tells you the
half.
second half, and the second half is basically saying don't copy people.
I always thought it was like, what is it? Or what does it go like? I can't remember now.
you can.
It will come to me.
What
My
is
brain
it?
is not working. Say it again,
they don't.
Katie.
Flattery is
No, imitation is the purest form of flattery.
Oh yeah, but it's like no.
No,
Telling someone
Yeah.
is I think like the biggest part of that.
Yeah.
Like being like,
Yes.
don't just copy me and be like, oh, like I really
Yeah.
admire you, so I'm gonna copy. Be like, no, you look good. I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ashley, I'm going to wear the same outfit that you wear.
We have
Oh
the
my
same
God.
bra on right now.
Really?
We should.
And I bought the same pants that Ashley had on, but I wasn't sure if they were.
Flattery
but
is-
I did want to get them because they looked so good on her. But
Yeah.
you knew what they looked good on you. I told you.
Those are
I
them.
love to show my flattery for my friends by imitating them. Not gonna lie. I'm like, ooh,
the actual
you look
quote,
cool.
which
I
is-
want to
Okay,
look
tell
like
us.
The
that.
actual
Katie.
quote is by Oscar Wilde, and it's an imitation is the sincerest form of flattery that mediocrity can pay to greatness.
Oh, that is, you know what? That's an important one to
Yeah.
have in the full context. I think.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like that. Like
Maybe it's the
you'll do what
people
you
that
love.
imitate that only say the first part. They're just like
Yeah.
leave the last
Selective
so
part.
funny.
hearing.
That really
that hits. That one hits.
These quotes are getting pulled out.
You're like taking
And
notes.
the Instagram promo. Yeah, I'm like, all right, we're gonna have
Yeah.
to be discussing this next week.
Which actually, like, it isn't. I mean, it is related. It wasn't a very good segue, but I do think that that's something that comes up a lot in this industry.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, imitation, small
Okay.
town
Yes,
stuff, noticeable.
because when you guys started, like, you like broke the mold for what was happening here.
In
Like,
Halifax.
Yeah, like definitely has like a fun bar resto vibe. Like you feel like you're in a club a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it is. You guys
It's
have a
vibey.
We
fun
literally
time.
wanted to
Yeah.
call it like a resto bar, and I'm pretty sure one of our people got a loan from was like, you can't. They don't want you use the word bar in the
Right.
branding, and we also were like, oh, people aren't gonna get it.
That we're trying to serve them food.
Yeah, and it really was a struggle to teach our customers exactly what it was that we we're trying to do and what we want them to do in the space. And also sometimes you open a space or you create something and people do interact with it differently, and that's fine, but it's finding your way back to okay, this is what our goal was, this is how people are treating it, so what is the in between. And yeah, it did take a while to figure that out, and it takes a really long time to get your feet under you. And yeah, it's a challenge, but I think when you can do it and when you can marry those two things and you can stay true to your values and your morals and all that stuff, you can really create a magical thing.
Where did the name come from?
Yeah, so the name originally, when we very first opened, we really had a hyper focus on using local products, which we have definitely gone away from a little bit, but I would say that we still are very, Natalie can speak more to this, but we're very committed, especially with the food. We don't order food from Cisco, for example. We get all of our stuff from local suppliers. So the name was supposed to represent what you can eat in Nova Scotia. So a guide to what is available here. So there's books that are called field guides. You can get field guides to anything. Literally there's field guides to the stars or field guides to butterflies or field guides to wildflowers. And I grew up in the country and my parents are hippies and we always had tons of field guides around. So yeah, it's just kind of a reference to something that's a little bit of an old school idea.
Love
Yeah.
that.
So being such a unique spot and this vibe, how do you then deal with kind of the scene is growing up around you and this idea of imitation coming up, and what's that been like? Because it doesn't always feel good. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it definitely.
I think it's really difficult because, from my stance on the food end, I think original ideas are really difficult. I think that we draw inspiration from everything around us and everybody around us, and people are constantly being inspired by each other. And that's really healthy, especially in a food community that supports each other. And I think on a global scale, it's really great. When it becomes within a city, it becomes a little problematic. When it becomes it's just more tricky when it's within your own city. I think it's really good to look just a little bit further when you're looking for inspiration than within your own city.
And also, I think another thing that makes it difficult is when you are grouped in with a bunch of other restaurants that are all doing a similar thing. Like, everybody wants to serve whatever the local produce is that's in season. It's like all of a sudden everybody has a tomato salad on their menu, which is awesome because we all want to eat tomatoes when they're in season because they're delicious.
And there's such a short growth
period.
And
it's a really short season. But it's like, how do you then create something within that's unique so that you're not copying people and so that people want to come and eat
your thing.
I think salad.
From food, like preserving is a really big thing that you have to do in Nova Scotia to be able to step outside of that.
And have things in the winter that you wouldn't
have in the summer, because it's like literally everybody gets the same availability of each thing at the exact same time. And
like right now it's cabbage.
Everybody
has like cabbage dishes on their menu, which is awesome, and they're all everyone I've had is very different.
I've had a few, and they're all
I've had 3. They're all really different, and they're all delicious. But it's like really interesting,
and it's hard. Like when you've been in business for me, cooking at the same restaurant for 7 years, to come up with a new cabbage dish every season is really hard. It's so difficult. And a new unique cabbage dish when all of the accompanying things are also the same is so hard. It's really challenging. So,
but that's where like I think using resources comes in so handy. Like we have a new sous chef at Field Guide, and he has like a totally different, not totally different, but like he has a different approach to food, and he's really young, so he's seen different things. Like his Instagram obviously looks very different from ours, you know. So
his
like
influences are different.
His influences are different. So like that's a really
his
cool.
Tastes are different.
His tastes are different, and that's like a really cool and exciting thing. Like when you get diversity in your team and you're drawing on those resources, like that can feel really, really exciting. It can feel scary, but it's usually like for the best.
And new, like we are getting accessibility to new like product really quickly here. Like it is
things are really
so
changing
different,
really fast
like
in the industry,
comparatively
for sure.
to what we could get even a couple years ago. It's like crazy night and day.
And that's like across the board for everything, like food and
booze,
all, alcohol, wine,
everything,
literally everything.
The more people come here, the more people who open restaurants, the more accessibility we'll get, because people on a global scale will realize that we have a market for things that they want to provide.
Love it.
And people want to put the effort in. Like I think there's like all these like offshoot type businesses that the hospitality industry supports. Like if you're an importer of like anything, like literally anything.
Oh man, we have so many business ideas.
Yeah. Oh man. If someone's like, hard up for an idea what to like do with their life, like
we have lots
text
of
me or
ideas.
something. I have some ideas.
Anyone who's ready to start a business.
I have a few. I got like a list, and I mean I don't want to do any of them. So, but I just want them. I want someone to do them because there's definitely not enough options. So, but I'd say like another thing I want to just add to the imitation is the flattery thing is just to touch quickly on what Keely said about finding, or maybe someone else said it, about looking further away for your inspiration. I think that's like something, again, since I'm a creative person as well, I like really am hyper aware of this type of thing. And like I think it's like part of my personality. Maybe it's something astrology based where I like really, 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 really try so hard not to imitate people. Like I really put a lot of effort into it. And maybe it's through like lessons I've learned in my life. And maybe it's just like, again, the personality thing where I get hung up on it and I just want to really feel individual. And I put a lot of effort into, because everyone, like Natalie said, everyone has to go out and find something. Like they need some guidance, they need an idea, they need a spark. And I just really put a lot of effort into going as far away in my mind or on the internet or wherever, or like being more sort of like mindful when I'm just living my life so that I can draw upon different experiences. And that's what I hope for, because I think that what the thing is that kind of like irks me, or like if I had to like gripe, I would say sometimes it feels a little bit like people are just being a little lazy. And I want to see and I know that it's possible for it to not cost you more, or like to not like take too much out of you, to just like take a sec and like
Go a little further.
go a little further, take that one little extra kind of like degree away to get something cooler.
It must drive like such a different level of like innovation within the industry for you though, like because even like you said, every season you need to come up with the new dish for the exact same piece of food, or like the new cocktail, or like what's the new thing we can get access to. Like it's just, it definitely,
Yeah, and everyone's kind of clamoring.
and like in bigger cities, it's like not a problem because you have so
many options.
much
You're far
diversity
away.
and
Yeah.
I just don't know why it would. It seems. I think one of you said something about like small town kind of feel. Like why not go? Like why would you want to go within your own city in any business or like capacity to kind of take inspiration from? Like I'm just trying to wrap my head around that. I'm like, I'm at least gonna get inspiration from California or like Europe or something. You know
I
what
mean, because people
where no one will ever know.
people are doing it right, and you see that they're being successful,
Right.
and that they understand their market, and you want to understand the market the way that the people who have been successful for a long time understand the market. That's why.
And Halifax is such a different, and Nova Scotia in general, East Coast, like a different market. Like I know in the business I work in, it's like a lot harder to get people to like adopt new things and to change. So that makes sense, Natalie, if it's working.
I think it's going to change though as more and more people move here. I think especially businesses that are run by like people who've lived here for a really long time, I think it's gonna be harder. Maybe for us because we don't have
Some of the same resources.
some of the same resources or the same experience.
But I think the thing that actually makes a business really unique, like a business like Field Guide, is the fact that like we are all from here, and that in itself is so special because there's like a part like down east hospitality is like a real thing.
oh totally.
and the
I
community you guys have built, like,
and you can't like you just don't have that if you don't know it.
Totally.
And you can learn skills for sure, but I do think that there's something that's like really special and unique about
About Field Guide
businesses that are like
specifically,
from and businesses that are like from here,
Right. Yeah.
and specifically in the like hospitality.
Yeah, and I think as like when your owners are here and when you have that passion to make it a lasting effect.
Yeah.
And I think and for like owners who are really heavily involved in their business, like we're all going to be on the floor at Field Guide and Fawn in a very real, maybe too real capacity. All of the time. So, and it really makes a difference, I think, for staff and for the customer to have that experience with like the ownership on ground.
People like to support like the whole like support local movement is like still, I would say it's still going strong. I think it's definitely still something that like all the business like I don't know what they're called, like the district business associations, like the North End Business Association, the downtown and the Spring Garden and all those, everyone is still sort of like
Championing
going forward with that concept. And I think that that's going to morph a little bit. And obviously like, like you have to start to be more discerning as more and more things happen. And just because it's here and it's happening doesn't mean it's necessarily local.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just because it exists in this space and the people who work there live here, I don't know. It's like, it starts to kind of like, it's snowballing a little bit in this strange way. And that's not to say that like, I'm not trying to be like a gatekeeper. That's not the vibe. Like, I know that there's like a harsh tokes on the come from away thing too. Like, I don't want to be like saying like folks who aren't from here can't do cool things. I think that's not what we're saying. But I do think it's like an interesting, just do it a little differently. And also, there's a lot of nuance to that conversation. Obviously we don't have time for it today, but
No,
Sometimes you just got to get it out though.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us, we mentioned a few times Fawn. Like, tell us kind of how you're now taking what you guys have learned over, almost a decade of Field Guide. Like, what was your inspiration to start Fawn? And tell us when this is all going to be taking off.
So I would say the inspiration has been brewing for some time now. Before the pandemic and in another life, Kaylee and I used to actually go on trips places. And there's a lot of like, this is actually really related to this conversation about inspiration. And we definitely saw and experienced some like dining spaces and experiences that were different-y and felt like something we didn't have access to back home when we would be there. We were like, oh, I wish we had a place like this we could just go to every Saturday or whatever. And one of those things was an all day concept. And initially our idea was very much like more of a cafe vibe, like very casual. And the idea just kind of like blossomed, I would say, from there and taken on a bit of a different flavor. So now we have Fawn, and she's a grown up.
Oh,
Love the name.
Yeah.
She's a grown up.
Yeah. So she'll be open all day.
and
And it'll be, a day to night situation with coffee and lunch and dinner. And I would say aesthetically, definitely very different from Field Guide, as with the food, very different. Obviously with our location being more sort of off the high street, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
So just off Spring Garden, that's just a very
Great
different vibe down there.
location.
There'll be more sort of tourist action. Not that we actually do okay with tourism in terms of like walk through traffic or people like making it a destination to come to Field Guide, but I think there's gonna be way more like happenstancy type situations there, as well as being near the Wanderers grounds. So there's like so much more like possibility in terms of the walk by stuff, and just a bigger dining room. I would say a more traditional, classic menu. Which I'll let Nat talk about, and just like a more like a high end vibe. I know people kind of have perception of Field Guide that it's like high end, but it's actually quite casual in there. Like, you can be going out top for sure, but you can also come there in like jeans and a t-shirt, and it's like pretty chill. It's a really chill vibe. So this place is going to be a little bit like Fawn's going to be a bit more grown up and just like just a little bit more fancy.
It must be exciting for you. I'm thinking of your creative background, and like now you're coming in at something at the very beginning. Well, all of you, like Kaylee was obviously there at the birth of Field Guide, but must be exciting to kind of like build every piece.
a wild process. It's like nothing
it's
I've
quite
ever
intense.
experienced. It's so intense.
And I would say, not to speak for you, Kaylee, but I would say like definitely very different from, because I've borne witness to a couple of restaurants being birthed, and I would say that this one is different from the other ones.
The
'Cause it's
pandemic
just the
really
intent.
freaked things up.
Yeah, the pandemic is obviously not a super hot to trot item for restaurants and the hospitality industry in general, or
Some
like tourism,
people,
or
when we tell them, they're like, oh, what are you doing? And you're like, I'm opening a restaurant. And they're like, oh, is it a little? And you're like, no, it's going to be like 100+ seats. And they're like, and you're opening it right now? I'm like, yeah, within the next couple months. And they're like, ha, ha, ha. And they're like, how's the pandemic? And I'm like, ha, ha, ha.
What?
Not great.
What's COVID?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really slowed the process down a lot, and things are very expensive.
So expensive.
Right.
So, but we're doing it.
I think it's a good time. Like I feel
I
like
think
the
so too.
city's
think
just
so.
starting to like climb and climb and climb. That like if you're opening something now, I feel like people are gonna be, they're gonna show up.
People are
They better.
ready.
Yeah, we'll be there.
We'll be there, Natalie.
We're nice.
It's just you two.
After you. Yeah.
Jesse,
Me
you
there,
can take
me
our
too.
photos while we're there.
We'll be there, sitting, dining, and fun. So tell us a little bit about what the food's going to be like here.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
It's we've been saying elegant takes on the classics. I understand that's very
It's like high level.
Flowery.
very flowery.
I'm picturing like
yeah.
Venice Beach, like
Yeah,
that.
interesting.
Nice.
So it's going to be modern American cuisine.
Okay. Oh,
French and Italian influence. We're going to have all of your like classic dishes. We want to make people feel comfortable at home, but really what it is the food that we want to eat when we're going out, made with like the highest quality ingredients.
Okay, but now let's do a quick tour, because I want to know what everyone thinks is like their classic dish. Like, because I think that's... I'll go first.
Okay,
It
I was
came
like,
to
don't
me.
ask me.
It's like spaghetti and meatballs or
Ooh.
something. Like, to me, I'm like, oh, that's like a classic. When you say like modern American, I'm like, oh, that's like a staple on every
Like
menu.
Okay,
chicken
but we're
parm.
thinking a little high end.
okay.
No, but a high-end mix of that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, okay, here's
Yeah.
the classic.
You're doing a red
So
sauce.
we're gonna
There will
elevate.
be
we're
there will
doing-
be
there's a red
there will be a
sauce.
red sauce.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a red
I'm
sauce
so curious
pasta.
about like the daytime, because I was at Spin with your friend, Jess Eamon, today. And after, Monday, a lot of things are closed and it was lunchtime.
Yeah.
So we were like, where can we grab something?
We're
like
open 7 days a week.
Yeah,
from
but
the
there's
morning
no, like,
until
we
the
were
night.
racking our
Come for a
brains trying to think
cocktail.
of somewhere
A
to
bowl
go.
of
and
pasta,
it's
steak,
hard.
a burger,
A burger.
Yeah.
your shrimp cocktail,
Yeah.
your chopped salad.
Shrimp cocktail
Come
is
for
a
it
thing
all.
I
Oh, I
think
love
of
a
when I think of
chopped
like just a
salad.
classic thing that I want to eat, like not just at Christmas.
I love a good
You
shrimp
know,
cocktail. You're
love
right.
it.
I think we've had this conversation before. Sometimes I'm not in the mood to go out for like a really extravagant, like I just want
Full
like,
lunch.
I just don't want to cook and I want someone to make
Yeah.
something like my mom
Yeah.
would make for dinner,
Yeah.
you know?
Like a really good
home-cooked
salad.
meal.
You want something that makes you feel good
Mhm.
and comforted
Familiar.
and not terrible.
Yeah, like also, it's not that it's like, it doesn't have to be like health food, but it's just
No.
like, you know,
No.
still relatively
And you know it's
healthy,
made from
so,
like
Yeah.
good quality ingredients and it's made with love. Like it sounds
With
really
love.
cheesy, but it's made with love and it will have cheese on it.
we love cheese as well.
Yes. But you know, it's just like made by people who care.
Yeah.
You'll be able to see into the kitchen, which I think will be really special and it
Cute.
was really important to me.
Because you can see in the kitchen, I feel good.
Yeah. I never want to work in a closed kitchen. I think it
So separated from
you're
the
so
side.
separated and
bad
it
vibes.
breeds bad culture.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to have people seen and have the people, have everybody see everybody and know what's going on and where their food is coming from. I think that'll be great.
Yeah, the space is going to be beautiful.
The space is going to be so amazing.
Yeah, we're really fortunate to get to work with a wonderful designer and builder, two separate companies. But Robin Manning of Bricks and Birches is doing our design work.
Her work's amazing.
Yeah, and we have got a wonderful contractor named John Senman who owns Red Pine Builders, and they're like also it's really cool because these folks are new to like commercial like hospitality spaces, and I think that was really that is interesting in its own little way, and as a team we're all sort of like helping each other learn new stuff.
We literally
and
hug after every meeting.
yeah, we're like, let's hug. And I think like, it's just, it really aligns with our kind of way of being and just like the way we like to treat our contemporaries and our collaborators and our colleagues. And we're all sort of equal, and it feels really fun to collaborate and make something cool. And I know they feel really passionate about the project and excited. And
we get to be really involved.
I think that decision really like got us off on the right foot. It's challenging for sure, but I think we'll be really proud of the outcome, and it'll be something we can all really share in. I think that's just like so
it
it's
makes me
hokey,
wanna
but it
cry.
like really gives me goosebumps, and it just makes me feel really proud to be doing the thing. And I think that's the kind of energy we're going to carry through the whole project, is just like really trying to find the right people and just trying to create a really wonderful workplace. And we're really passionate about like equity and just like making sure everyone feels cared for, and it's like huge for us. And we didn't really touch that much on this, but I just want to like, the whole idea of us being 3 female entrepreneurs and in a space that's highly male dominated and is pretty cutthroat is, I think, quite remarkable. And I think something that we will look back on in our later years and be really, 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 really proud of ourselves for.
And doing things the right way instead of the way that it
or,
has been
or
done.
just the way, like
Or
leading with our
way that
hearts and
feels
trying
right
our
to us.
best.
Yeah.
Like, like I think it's really hard to know the right thing to do all the time. And I think anyone who says they know what's up is lying. I'm gonna be honest, I think most people are liars.
Very Scorpio. of you.
But I think that brings such a fresh perspective, like just having 3 women like leading kind of the charge in the hospitality scene. Like it does create a different environment for your staff and a different experience from everything, right? So it's kind of cool that you get to do that.
Yeah. And it's not for lack of like, I think there's been some other people, women especially, like even locally, who have definitely expanded people's minds in terms of like what's possible for women in this industry. And so I'm not going to be like, we're the ones taking the credit for this, but definitely there's people that inspire me and women in this business, both locally and other places, that are awesome. And I think that,
And they work so hard.
and they work so freaking hard with like no recognition. And that's just like, there's so much to talk about in the hospitality industry, and it's like definitely a really fascinating sort of sector. And I think that as diners, like, I mean, I'm a diner. I went out last night for dinner. It's interesting because you interchange. You're one night you're serving, the next night you're being served, and so there's a lot in that. And I think that's really interesting time to be I mean, as we know, interesting time to be alive in general, but just like in the industry, it's a really, there's a lot in flux, and I think it's a really vibrant and interesting place to like do work. Yeah.
It's cool to see. How does this one feel for you, Kaylee?
It feels good. I feel like when we very first started this process, I kept being like, guys, get ready. It's going to be the craziest thing you've ever done. You're going to be really tired. Like, get your shit together now. Figure out what you're going to eat.
I don't even think
Figure
it
out when
started
you're gonna
yet,
sleep.
though,
No, and
that part.
we're in it. We're getting to it. And yeah, it's really crazy. And so I feel a little bit more prepared. Not from my own experience. Like, I can look back on it. Not say I'm more prepared than you two, but like, because I've had the experience, I can imagine it maybe more clearly, like what it's going to be like. But yeah, it's an immense amount of work. But the thing is that restaurants always are, and it's never stopped being an immense amount of work. And like Field Guide wouldn't exist if it wasn't for all the hard work that we have all put into it and all of our staff. And I think that's what makes restaurants really like special and kind of stupid.
So stupid.
Like sometimes
I wish we liked anything
and I'm
else.
like, "Whew, this is a real racket." But yeah, it is really truly what makes them special, and I'm just really excited. I'm really excited to to kind of talk a little bit more about what Katie was saying. Like, the thing that makes me really excited about my job is like staff and like my relationships with my staff and then the guests. And if you have a good relationship with your staff, you can create an experience for the guests that's amazing. And it just takes a lot of effort, and you really have to care about it. And we all really care. So
Well, we
We're
care
doing it.
too, and we're excited. And I also love the location because I'm obsessed with the public gardens. I love the public gardens.
I'm like, when I have
oh my god,
like a 5-minute break between services, between breakfast and lunch,
going in there,
I'm
having
gonna
a
like
coffee?
go sit in the sun in the public
Yeah.
gardens. Like
Just, like,
that for me
breathe.
is what's like, that's the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Right now.
you see
At
Natalie
this
like
point.
bolting it.
I'm just
across
like
the
me,
street.
just
She's,
lying
like,
in the
she's in like the duck
sunshine.
pond, like swimming.
I'm like fully in my chef whites, just like unbuttoned and lying
Getting
in
a
the
little
park.
tan, little gut microbiome situation.
Yeah.
It's good for the soul. Good for the soul.
I'm gonna need it. We're all gonna need it.
Oh my, well, we're so excited for you. Like, it's just such a fun chapter, and yeah, a crazy, crazy, crazy thing that you have taken on throughout a pandemic. But like, each of you have such a unique vibe. Like, so I know this new restaurant's going to be its own kind of like next level.
Yeah.
Experience.
It's our baby. We're like, I like joke all the time that this is like the only marriage contract you like can't get out of.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're all married now.
Yeah, we're like in it with each other legally for like 10 years.
10 years. We're like, we can't leave.
Yeah, it's serious.
You can do it.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
We'll do the 10-year reunion.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The
Let's do it.
reunion show. Sign us up.
Love that.
10 years seems
At this
such a long time.
point, let's do a 10-month reunion show and see how it goes.
Yeah.
One of you just comes.
Yeah, everyone else is too busy.
You're like, we're not getting along now.
Yeah, we can't speak to each other.
You can come to us and mic us
Oh
up.
yeah, actually, I was thinking about how cool it would
that'd
be
be
if
so
you.
cool.
I don't know if you know this, but there's a place in New York called Roberta's. It's like a pizza spot,
No.
and they actually used to have. I don't know if they still have it, but they used to have like a podcast recording studio in the very back of it. So there would be like a bunch of design. Like there was one design podcast I used to listen to called Design Sponge. It was like whatever, and she would always be like, "Coming to you live from Roberta's in Brooklyn."
have a back
It was like
room.
they're in
You
the
can go
they're in
there.
like a restaurant, and it so
Oh my
you could
gosh.
always. I think it would be a
Hit us
great
up.
place for some like Ravelin Queen events because there's a little
mezzanine.
mezzanine
Yeah.
upstairs.
Oh, there's an upstairs.
Yeah,
We've
I
been
think
thinking
you could
about
have-
events.
Yeah.
This is perfect.
Yeah,
All
I think
right,
you
our
would.
next
I think
event.
the vibe would be.
You wanna
right
start
for your
renting them out
podcast.
now?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. Okay, so how can people learn more about Fawn and kind of like?
We
see
have
what's
Instagram.
coming?
I mean, who doesn't? So the handle is Fawn Resto, FAWNRESTO. So follow us there.
Website
We are going to be
coming
hiring.
soon.
We are currently hiring.
lots of people. So if you are in the industry and want to work with us, then follow us, and there's an email link on our bio. Obviously, like everyone has.
I can say from working for these two, they're really great to work for, and
Natalie,
I
thank you.
plan on also being really great to work for. So
And also hard paper resumes.
Yeah.
resume.
Also,
I
when
recommend
when
you
apply,
print
there's
your
already like a hot
resume
tip.
on cardboard.
You guys get a stack, and they're
They're like
all
so
thick.
thick.
Like,
There's like only 4.
Also,
and
I'm
it's,
pretty
like,
sure I sprayed perfume on it for some reason.
So it's a love letter also.
Surprise me at all.
like good vibes. Yeah.
Where can people
probably-
connect with Field Guide as well?
Field Guide HFX, FIELDGUIDE HFX on the Instagram channel.
Yeah.
We're also, we're for Fawn specifically, we are also doing a membership program that's like kind of a form of a like investment situation. So if you're somebody out there who like really wants us to support us and what we're doing and the industry as a whole, definitely reach out about that as well. We can share some details there. It involves an investment, obviously, but also we'll give you some really cool perks and some VIP access and stuff like that.
Do
So
we need to talk about
that's an option if anybody is out there who wants to, fiscally support our
cool.
project, because we are
Yeah.
still in the fundraising stages as well. So
Oh, that's amazing. Though.
fawnresto@gmail.com.
yeah, reach out. Yeah, for sure.
No, that's amazing.
It's the
Thanks
plug.
for sharing.
No, we're so happy to learn all about this, and also kind of cool that you're fundraising in that way. I think that's awesome. It's
Yeah, we actually haven't got any traditional lending, so we haven't got any money from banks, and we are feeling really proud about that, although it's also difficult in its own way.
yeah.
But we are doing it, and
Trying.
we've been finding a lot of people who are very interested in supporting us, so it's been really awesome.
Yeah.
It's
Good.
humbling and confidence boosting all at the same time. Crazy.
Definitely.
I see that.
Yeah.
Do you want to ask a question, Ashley?
I didn't know if we were going to skip the question today, Sarah, for sake of time.
Okay. Well, I think
Well-
you should ask it.
Okay, maybe one of you guys can answer.
Okay.
What are you guys most excited about right now?
What's lighting you up?
What's lighting
Like
you
in
up?
life,
Anything.
Anything in life.
what everybody say the first thing they think about?
Oh my god. Mine's too depressing.
Okay,
I
well, I,
don't
know what
think
mine
that's
is
depressing.
because
That's
I'm
your
the
kid.
optimist.
Yeah.
Music. I've been writing a lot of music and
Ooh.
exercising.
Okay.
Those are my
Running.
two things. Running. I got into running during the pandemic. Actually, Katie was like, "You should go for a run." Well, I said, "I can't believe you go for a run," and she said, "You should go for a run," and I said, "I can't do that." And she
I said,
was
if I
like,
can do it, you can do it.
Okay,
She
whatever.
said, fine.
And
She said, I
then
probably couldn't even run to the end of my block. And then like 2 days later, she's like, I ran around the block. And I
Now
was
she's
like, oh
like
my God.
crushing it.
Yeah, no,
running.
she's running 10K
Yeah,
and
love
everything's fine.
running and love making music and making time to do those things, even in the midst of everything else.
I can't
Mine's
wait
a
to
good
hear
night,
yours.
a good night's sleep.
Ooh.
That's
That's
it.
lovely.
That's what I
Great.
want. That's what I need, and I can't wait.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Katie, what about you? Anything lighting you up right now?
I mean, I think my work. I think that's like the
I
thing
mean,
that's
yeah.
like the most prominent in my life at the moment. Yeah, I think I would say that I'm pretty like focused on it, and like it's all consuming, so I don't really have that much time to think about much else. Yeah, and I think just like the post-pandemic life, if that ever happens, is like lighting me up a little bit, just like
Yeah.
that stuff.
Exciting.
But I'm excited for this project to be real in the world.
When's Fawn gonna open? Do we know?
My birthday's in June. If Fawn is not open by my birthday, I'll be sad because I'll have to go somewhere else to celebrate. And if I go somewhere else, it'll be the Micmac Tavern. So
Okay, so our fingers are crossed. We're gonna look springtime.
Yes.
Yeah.
For
Spring.
Fawn.
Yes.
Spring.
is the vibe.
2022.
When
This
the
year.
black clouds just
Yeah.
open
Part
up,
and there'll be like a
sun
god
starts
ray shining down
Yeah.
onto the
Cute
restaurant.
dresses.
We're
Cute
looking forward to
dresses,
patio
shorts.
season.
Cute dresses.
I've got cute dresses. I've
Rival
got
and
some
Queens at
wedges.
the
I'm like,
mezzanine.
yeah, we're gonna look great.
It's going to be
Yeah.
like your like girls brunches, your date nights, your bachelorette parties, your business meetings. We'll take them all.
You want to just sit and drink coffee by yourself?
Yeah.
Your breakfast
Read a book.
mornings.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be crazy for you to have such a huge space compared to the side.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't
Well, I
wait.
don't even know. I don't know.
We don't even know what we're in for. We don't know what's happening.
When we don't know what's going on.
like I said, anyone who says they know what's happening, not telling you the truth.
Not us.
We're making it up as we go along in the
Okay.
best way possible.
Last but not least, we're gonna play a quick round of Queenie Grams.
Great.
Our made-up game,
no.
super easy. You're
You'll
each gonna
pass.
pick a question and answer, and it just pick a number between 1 and 145.
What?
Okay.
How many questions?
1 and
Well,
145.
you can each
just
pick one. Yeah.
Okay, 111.
111.
We'll do not first.
Let's see. 3 items always in your car.
Oh no. Lysol wipes. Dirty
Oh,
cup of coffee,
okay.
Mm-hmm.
and throughout the year a scraper for snow because I just never take it out because you just never know.
You know,
Fair.
safety.
It's not dirty. There's a lot of dog
Stuff.
stuff,
Okay.
And all the dog stuff.
all the dog stuff.
I love that. What about you, Katie? What's in your car?
Some change.
Classic.
Probably like a bunch of receipts crumpled up on the side panel.
Expenses.
Masks right now. Masks hanging from my little gear shifter. That's always in there. Yeah.
I do that. Do you have a car, Kayla?
Fun fact, I don't know how to drive. Huge point of contention. Don't want to talk about it. I think I have to get hypnotized to get over this mental block.
So if anybody knows a good hypnotist,
All right.
please send them Kaylee's way because we all need her to drive.
All right. The hypnotist request is going to come out. Let's
Call
see
us.
if we can get someone. Katie, do you want to pick a number?
7.
7.
Do you want to tell us what's in your car, Sarah?
Oh, yes. But then Katie's picked a great question.
Oh, good. The suspense.
In my car, I have,
Do you need me to help you answer?
I don't know what I have in my
Yoga
car.
mat, I feel like.
Oh, do you know what? I've got a tripod that's been there forever. In case we have any video taking emergencies. They happen. My yoga mat is usually there, and right now my skis have been there for like too long.
Don't you have don't you drive a Mini?
Oh yeah, I drive a minute. The skis come up through the airship.
You're just like, no worries.
I
Like,
had
my
for
skis.
2 years, I had a smoke machine in the trunk of my car.
Amazing.
And then it leaked smoke machine liquid everywhere.
no.
But it was right before my car got totaled, so it was fine. But it would have been really disastrous to clean up, so it would have been bad. But it's
Okay,
fine.
so get the smoke machines out of your car.
Do not drive with a smoke machine.
Ask what's in your car.
Usually until a few months ago, golf clubs are always because we have so little storage, but they're out of there now. But I want to say reusable shopping bags. Always have like
That's
a pack of those and sunglasses, obviously. And definitely an old coffee mug, cup, water bottle, like something kicking around.
Those are practical things. I don't know where any of my stuff
A toolbox.
right now.
I have a
toolbox.
I have a
Oh,
mini.
smart.
Also smart.
It's so small. It's like when I
Like a
used to do
car
design, I
toolbox.
needed it all the time. Like I need a measuring tape. I need a hammer.
I think
It's so tiny.
you three, Kaylee, assuming you at some point drive in the future, I think the toolbox would be very handy
Yeah.
as you're busting back and
We've
forth.
gone
Yeah.
through
It's
a
pink
lot
and
of
black.
a
It's super
lot
cute.
of measuring tapes get stolen on site. We've learned, and measuring tapes are a hot commodity.
And
They're under lock and key at the store.
At the Canadian Tire under lock and key. I bought
I
a really nice
saw
one.
that
the other day.
Anyways, fun fact.
Paint it like some very bright color.
Yeah.
That they won't want.
Yeah,
Put
so they can
Fawn
get easily
stickers on it.
stolen.
Yes. Okay, Katie. Everyone's going to answer this, but what is the best type of dog breed in your opinion?
Oh wow, I'm not a dog person. I apologize in advance
That's
for
okay.
this
You-
question answer.
Do you
situation.
like any dogs?
I do.
Okay.
I'm into bully breeds.
Ooh.
Yeah, anything like in that realm. I think they're really sooky and cute, and they seem scary, which I like. The like tough exterior, soft inside. That's like very Scorpio of me also. I lived with a bully breed dog named Boomer for a couple years, and he was the best. He was like, yeah, he's still alive, but he.
I also lived with him.
Yeah, we lived together, and our other roommates had this dog. Hi, Luke and Hannah. They had this dog named. They had the dog named Boomer who lived with us, and
He was the best.
he was the best. Yeah, really like.
He won you over.
He really did.
I need
It
to
was the first dog
Google.
I've ever lived with because, of course, I'm not a dog person. I didn't grow up with a dog.
Right.
So he was the first dog I ever lived with, and it was a wonderful experience. 10 out of 10.
The bully breeds. Got it.
I have a Labradoodle. She's a Moyen Labradoodle. She's 2. Her name is Tilly. So I think I have to say Labradoodle.
Yes.
Although, I don't know. She's a lot. She's a dog. She's a dog. She don't get a dog on the first day of a pandemic. Is my advice.
For future pandemics.
For the future pandemics, do not get her on the first day of the first lockdown. Would be my advice to everybody. But
Okay.
Labradoodle.
I think I have a controversial opinion, which is long-haired chihuahuas.
Oh.
Shout out to Shemi.
Yeah.
And I know a chihuahua named Shemi, and he's the best dog ever. I'm pretty sure he's a human in a dog's body,
Yeah.
and I want one, and I'm on multiple Facebook groups.
Are they hard to get?
Yeah.
I've never
And
even
everybody
seen
wanted
this.
dogs, like,
Well,
During the
put
first
day of the
ask out to
lockdown?
the community right
yeah,
now. They're
looking for
Long-
a
Both a
long-haired
psychic
chihuahua.
and a long-haired chihuahua. If anybody has one. If anybody has a psychic
and
with a
employees.
long-haired
Those
chihuahua.
are really
Oh, no,
cute.
a hypnotist.
Oh, the long-haired chihuahua looks like
I
a
think they are
papillon.
so cute.
Like the
Oh, yeah.
So if we see
Are they
this
the
dog around, we might
Steal it.
suspect it's
Doesn't
your
live here.
friends.
Don't steal
Doesn't
it.
live
Oh, it
here.
doesn't live here. No. We
will
don't
not
condone
steal
stealing
it.
animals.
Oh my goodness, no. What?
Okay,
No.
love that. Ash, what's your favorite dog breed?
Well, I love small dogs, usually of the poodle mixture. I never thought I liked poodles until I met all of our friends' dogs. Cavapoos I'm really into,
they're
or
cute.
like Maltese. I know. I say.
Multi-poo, cavapoo.
Yeah, they're just so sweet.
Yeah, they're
Why are
cute.
we upset about the poodle breed?
No, because like people are.
They have issues.
I know, this is how
I
I feel
have
about
one. I know.
Chihuahuas.
Yeah. I think people have
I'm
a
straight
perception
poodle.
about them. You know, they
Straight
judge
mini
Straight
poodle.
poodle.
them, but they're the best.
That's your choice?
Yeah. Wow. Because I grew up with them. They're
They're so
lovely.
smart too.
They're so smart, but too smart.
I know, but I kind of like it. I like that they're mischievous.
Yeah.
Daisy's like a
little
human.
bad.
A
Yeah.
little bit,
Like,
a
they
little
annoy me,
asshole
but I'm like,
energy.
Sarah cooks
You're
and like
good.
puts Daisy, her sister's dog, up on the chair to watch her prepare everything. And
My
Daisy
dog
just
sits
there
at
so
the table
happy.
for dinner.
Yeah.
Eats its dinner, not with me, but off of the table.
Wish I just said cats.
Katie's like,
Horses.
enough.
She's
with these
redacting.
dogs.
Yeah.
Regrets.
Regrets.
So the only thing I'm like, cats.
All right, Kaylee, one last question.
44.
44.
There are angel numbers here.
What secret society would you like to be a part of? I normally hate this question. but I
All
feel
of
like
them.
you
I
will
want it.
each-
I just
All
want to
of
be in Harry Potter. Can that count?
I want
Yeah,
to be Harry Potter
definitely.
too.
That's
my
my
answer.
That answer. I love that
That's
answer.
it. I don't think it's a secret society, but it's
It
something.
counts.
It kind of is. It is kind of
I
secret.
don't.
To
I
the
need somebody to
Muggles,
list me
so.
some secret societies because I don't know any.
Well, it could
That's my
really be any. I
choice.
think like any
You can choose Harry
society
Potter.
we know nothing about.
I can
Maybe.
choose Harry
Like I said, the
Potter.
royal
Katie, do
family
you have
ones.
any-
'Cause I feel
Oh,
like that's
I'm
like, a
I
secret.
love
Yeah.
like that Wild Wild Country documentary.
I've never seen that.
Oh, I just like love a cult situation.
Okay.
Okay,
All
be
right.
careful,
Anytime
Kaylee.
I like start to like I like read the first couple things, I'm like, ooh yeah, and then you like
I really get
keep
this.
going, and you're
Yeah,
like,
I
oh, you're like,
know.
oh, it's a meditation and like a community that we all live
And a
in, and then
uniform.
you like keep reading, and you're like, oh, absolutely not. This is a terrible man who's leading all these people, and he spent everyone's money on really fancy cars.
There's a lot of cults.
There's a lot of cults.
Me? Oh, I do not. I don't think I don't have time. I don't want to be in a secret society because I don't want to dedicate any time to that. But I did recently see a thing on the internet that was trying to recruit people for a sleep study where you get
yeah.
paid to sleep, and I do want to be in that.
Okay.
Ooh.
You want to be in a sleep society. Got it. Check.
Nap club.
Mandatory sleep all the time.
Katie, what about you? Any secret societies?
I mean, everyone wants to know what's really going on with the Illuminati, so I think maybe I would say that.
I know.
think
I
that's
just Googled
cult.
them and they're number one, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, them, the Freemasons.
Yeah.
This is what
Templar.
this
I was
is
gonna
what
say
I was
Knights of
thinking
Templar
about.
or the Freemasons. Like all
Yeah.
three of those came to mind. And I was
Yeah.
like, the Illuminati seems
Yeah.
celebrities are into it, so it must
Yeah.
be something.
Church of
Illuminati
Scientology?
seems
Like,
scary.
do you
comes up
want to
a lot.
know?
I mean, it's like
I think if you said,
I think as soon as the veil is pulled back and nothing
or
ever seems
something.
as special as
Okay,
before.
let's put an asterisk on this question. No bad things will happen to you.
Yeah,
You're
that's
invisible,
what-
and
that's
you can
the
just
approach
you're
I'm
invisible, and
taking.
you just get to like
fly on
take
the
it
wall.
all in, yeah, and report back.
Except for
the
Harry Potter
Illuminati,
land.
because I feel like they also are holding on to all the other ones. Like I think the Knights of Templar and whatever the other one was,
Knights of
maybe
Columbus.
answer to the Illuminati.
What's the other one you said? Freemason.
Freemason, yeah.
Freemason. Ooh. Ash, what about you? Any secret societies?
I want to say royal family again,
Yeah.
but I don't think that's like a society. But I just want
It
to like
definitely is.
know, like
Yeah,
what's
the ins and
what's-
outs.
I
Yeah,
think that is a secret society.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
100p.
Absolutely.
Like,
Mhm.
definitely. I don't know what mine is. I think mine's like one of the
top three.
classics. Although I have to say, it's not because it's definitely Harry Potter because I've
Yeah, okay,
Kayla
we're
brought
all
this
going to
up.
Harry Potter.
And I know that's not a real society, but I just want it to be, and
It
I would definitely
can be
choose that if
whatever.
it
My
was.
fictional society would be like the Babysitters Club or something cute. Like, can I get in there? What's the password?
That
Or
seems
like
more
Goose
fun,
Bump.
honestly.
Yeah, really cute.
I love that. This has been so nice to have
Thank
the three
you.
of you.
Thanks
on.
for
Thank
having
you so much for
us.
coming.
Thanks for
This is great.
getting us all in here on all these mics and stuff.
I know.
Really fun.
Cramming us in like little sardines.
I love it. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.